ボンプカップの街中歩き文句も飛び交う私だけわからんとすぐに来て最低辛いの県外はるばる乗り越えおこしやす涙ルール百科の無限大口はデリヘイキューハー無理されないコソロップカラカラに金の前に潤して来いしぐれチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランダッダッダリルダラダダッダッダリルダラダダリルダリルダラダダダリルダリルダラダダラダダラダラダダリルダリルダリルダリルダラダラリダ止めた新宿も洗いたい口は孤独連弱も報われたい会いに行ける定めなら時を超えて待ちわびる熱く頂上乱舞のじれったい口は深い清潔で結ばれたいいつで峠と丸坂すごくなって会いに来て風吹かれあられ逃れ来なさい来る来ない恋きだれ甘い未来にやるらいて溺れたいチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキランチキラン
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to United States Cup 2025. We are into the round of 16 with another loser's bracket match here. It is Stateless versus New Hampshire. Both of these teams having, admittedly, a bit of a rough time last weekend. Stateless, of course, getting 5-0'd in the round of 32 by New Jersey. New Hampshire getting 5-0'd as well by Oregon. So both of these teams are looking to get a point in this match. Of course, one of them is going to have to win and advance on to the next round as well into the quarterfinals weekend. It remains to be seen which of them is going to get the first point in this match. Which of them is going to advance and find themselves in the top 24. I'm Dio, joined by iFlame for this match. Two Canadians on the United States Cup cast, streamed by a Brit. America.
Classic USC right there. This is kind of an interesting one. It's the two teams in the tournament that do not have a full 6-player roster. Obviously makes things a whole lot harder for both of them. New Hampshire with only 4 players, Stateless with 5, but I think both teams quite a bit in the previous round, both of them looking for improvements. But like you said, Gio, at least one of these teams is going to walk away with a few points, and that's going to be pretty huge for them. Maybe even both teams will walk away with at least 1 point.
One of them has to get 5, iFlame. One of them has to get 5 points and win the match. I mean, this is groundbreaking stuff we're talking about here.
Already is.
No,
I mean,
let's.
I've never seen so many points in their lives.
look, we were talking about both these teams. Let's be frank for a second here. Both these teams had a real rough goddamn time in the round of 32. So I'm hoping they put some practice in. I'm hoping they came prepared to this match so that they can show up and play well and have a good time in the round of 16.
Yeah, that's all you can really hope for. You know, just here to both teams just here to enjoy themselves and hopefully show some decent performances. You know, in terms of strategy, I did notice that New Hampshire has basically two players, which those being Shade and Whatskill, that are actually quite good at the tapping focus maps, and then they're like hard third player. But honestly, against a team like Stateless, that might be good enough. Whereas Stateless, probably going to want to pick some of your more, gimmicky, awkward reading, your ults, your aim. Avoid that tapping that Shade and Whatskill are so good on.
Well, let's see where they both want to go here. It does look like we're gonna get the bans before we get at least the. Oh, it looks like we are just getting warm-ups here. This is not a map in the pool. So we got the roles first, and we got the ban order and pick order for both these teams. So does look like New Hampshire going to be taking second ban, Stateless going to be taking second pick as we get into the first warm-up for both these teams. And yeah, I'm taking a look at the statistics from last weekend.
Don't do it's not worth it.
Oh God, no, it's not worth it. Look, I'm just gonna try and look to see like where these teams are somewhat comfortable. Because there's not a lot of places where they are comfortable.
And my notes are just bottom scored, all maps played. That's all. There's nothing to gain in those statistics, Tio.
Yeah. I just have to. Okay. Hold on. I gotta find something good. I gotta find something good to say.
All right. I believe in you.
I can't just be mean. I have to say some good things as well. New Hampshire, yeah, okay, on speed on DT2 last week. They actually beat New Jersey. They beat Florida. They beat Illinois, Washington, Pennsylvania, Indiana. On that map. So yeah, you know what? The speed
absolutely popped off.
The speed for New Hampshire, absolutely something they can lean into in this match because Stateless, unfortunately for them, bottom scored that map as they did a few other maps last weekend. Unfortunately, Stateless, I mean, this roster just has not had that great of a time. I think they showed up last week and just like were not practiced. And I think they're playing mostly for fun, if I had to guess, just because like they have not had a great showing so far. But who knows? Maybe they'll come super practiced this week and be really, really good on this round of 16 pool. Yeah, I think the one thing that we can definitely say is that New Hampshire has tapping over the Stateless roster. But aside from that, can't say too much else because, as both teams got swept last weekend, we've only seen so many maps out of both of these rosters. So not a ton that we can say about these teams.
Yep, ain't nothing wrong with playing for fun. Don't have to worry about grinding the maps all week long. Had one player with the warm-ups, very understandable. But I think this is a short one. The match I did earlier had 2 4-minute warm-ups.
Oh, I love warm-ups, dude. Oh, it's back to 2019, baby. Bring me back to when every match I had to restart the client because every match had different warm-ups and the map just wouldn't load. It was 4v4. So I had to go restart the client. And by the time I got restarted, the map was over and we just didn't see the warm-up anyway. Oh, it's so good, actually. It's such a great time. I love warm-ups.
And at least the client is slightly more functional now. So it mostly loads the warm-ups. It mostly loads the warm-ups. But yeah, it's
try 4v4. Try 4v4, Eklund.
That I will not do. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I goddamn thought. That's what I thought. Let's keep it tongue. Let's keep it 100. Like,
yeah, we're pushing the limits for 3v3 already. All right.
Well, I will say, as a player, I like warm-ups because that way I get to actually warm up. But
Yeah,
I don't like it for. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it when I'm streaming a match, but when I'm playing a match, I like them. So
Yeah, and I feel like most players warm up before the match on their own, anyways. But yeah, sometimes it can be nice to be in the lobby and have that extra warm up time to.
Yeah, but I claim, what if I show up late and I'm not super warmed up? Then what?
That is unfortunate. Then you get a space heater and warm up that way while your teammates play the maps for you.
What happened to the tournament client? Well, anyway,
yeah. So
this is what I mean by warm-ups
and warm-ups.
Yeah, something tournament client and warm-ups. Anyway. So anyway,
client is here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly. It's a little bit of a, you could say, bumpy ride. Anyway, I Flame, how's your weekend been so far?
Yeah, my weekend's been good. I spent some time with family. Went for breakfast this morning. Had a smoked meat eggs Benedict that was delicious. It's been a good
smoked
weekend.
Meat eggs Benedict. That sounds amazing.
It was fantastic.
Oh my god.
The hash browns on the side too were solid, nice and crispy.
Damn, now I want to make eggs Benedict tomorrow. That's so
much effort. It's not that hard to make.
Yeah, if you use the prepackaged sauce, but if you make the actual sauce, then
yeah, it doesn't take long. At the very least.
Yeah, I've made homemade béarnaise sauce for steak before. The double boiler egg yolk whisking is a little much. I can't lie.
Yeah, I mean you can do hollandaise in a blender and it works well enough. Yeah, I tried whisking hollandaise once because I didn't have a blender, and it went very poorly.
It takes 35 minutes of constant whisking, man. It's so much effort.
Yeah, we gave up after 10 minutes and accepted that our eggs Benedict that day was not meant to be.
Yeah. I went to the beach today. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. I actually took off work for the 4th just because I felt like it. So I did.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Even though I live in Canada, why not? So took it off anyway. Went to the beach today, not yesterday. Just kind of hung out yesterday. Grilled burgers. Got it.
Sounds good.
Not much going on.
That's a pretty chill weekend.
It's been chill. It's been chill.
The weekend it's not over yet. There's plenty more time. Plenty more USC matches.
Plenty more USC matches. Plenty more warm-ups to get through. That's right. That is right.
And it's like a tradition at this point. Just every year, you got to complain about the warm-ups.
Death taxes and complaining about warm-ups.
Exactly.
I was while we're completely off topic during the warm-ups, I was telling James before you joined in, I was just playing a team duel with a random in GeoGuessr. The game matched me with a silver 3 player, which is the second lowest ranking that you can possibly be. And I played against 2 other master players in a 2v2 team duel. I won.
Yeah. No way.
I carried the random silver person from Japan.
Nice.
Can't believe I actually won that. I'm sorry?
Do they have any decent guesses?
Oh no, I was pinging to tell them where to guess.
I see. Well, at least they listened.
They did listen. Credit where it's due. They did not troll. They listened to the pings, and we won because of it. So
there you go. Good team. Sometimes you just gotta know how to get carried.
Exactly.
Sadly, not quite an option. OC. You can't just sit back and let your team carry. You have to play the maps. Unfortunately.
I guess Zephyrco maybe can sit back and let the team play the maps. Had 500 misses. Just stopped playing at some point on the warm up.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen on any of the real picks, though.
We certainly hope not. I guess you never know.
That sure would be something to watch.
Like maybe
All right.
sometimes the third player syndrome on the speed maps can be strong.
Yeah. Let's see just how bad that third player syndrome is, huh? Second ban, I believe, is for New Hampshire. So Stateless can be banning first here, and then New Hampshire getting first pick as well. I think a good position to be in if you are New Hampshire. Stateless, please ban a speed map.
Yeah, I think it
speed
must be
maps.
Fremont
Well, I need to
too.
jog my memory a little bit. I was there for Showcase, but I haven't looked at the rest of the pool since then. I believe speed maps in this pool are basically just the DT1, DT3, and the Fremont 2. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You got it. I mean, you have the Nomad 4 too, which is 200 BPM streams, but not so much the speed. And we get the Hard Rock 2 Bando. That makes sense. Like, in my opinion, it's probably the hardest map in the pool, at least one of the hardest maps in the pool. So if you're worried about getting skull capped on a map, Hard Rock 2, definitely the one to ban. We've seen quite a few teams. Well, I say quite a few. We've seen 2 teams ban it out already. There's really just have not been that many matches.
I mean, there's been like 3 matches, right? So that's a lot of bans.
Yeah. New Hampshire have the next ban. I think their options are pretty wide open. Maybe they ban something that's a little more coin flippy, like the Nomad 1, or maybe they're just not comfortable with something like CS 7.7. They're actually going to ban out the HD2, which is just a kind of a awkward slider aim type map.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you're against... I feel like for this New Hampshire roster, you want to keep the mechanics picks open, right? You have a couple of really good players who are solid on speed in particular. You maybe don't want to ban out just random aim mechanics for that reason also. But I don't know how well placed the Hidden 2 ban is, just because I don't know that Stateless is ever going to pick that map, right? Like, maybe you just ban Nomad 1 or something like that. It's going to be a Nomad 3 pick, actually, here for New Hampshire. Not picking into the speed, picking instead into the tech in Nomad. Flashes by Dalsai. Halgo's Legendaria difficulty. This is a pretty well-known, like, 2022-23 tournament map. It's been a little bit since this has been really popular and well-used in tournaments, but it certainly had its fair share of tournament gameplay throughout the years. And yeah, good luck what skill? Good luck winning.
Yeah, I think for New Hampshire, we're going to see Shade and what skill in for every single map, and then Zephyr and Fishy. I tend to fill no Shade in for this one. I wonder if Shade is here or not, but might not know until a couple maps in. For Stateless, I think usually run similar 3 as well. Can't get a 700, Dawn, and Alfie as well. They do have Knor and Wallet in sometimes, but it's a pretty short map. It's just 1 minute and 54 seconds. Pretty tricky ending, but otherwise it's not all that difficult for a tech map. But I mean, it could have the kind of thing that could definitely be tricky for some of the lower seeded teams. So good luck, have fun in the chat. Let's see how New Hampshire can do on their first pick.
Say the name with your chest, iFlame. It's Big Boobs in for Stateless here.
You're so right, Theo. It is
ready to go for the first map of the match. And yeah, I will say New Hampshire, you know, if you are Shade, the other relatively high-ranking player on New Hampshire, close to 3-digit there, I feel like this is one of those maps you don't necessarily need to be in on, right? It's a tech map. It's 6.5 stars. Skill cap's not super important on something like this. Mechanical skill, less a predictor of skill on tech than just about anything, really. I mean, obviously there's some mechanics, there's some flow aim, there's some jump aim on this, but so much of this is just, you know, tricky technical slider aim, reading, and finger control, which just is really not measured in rank at all. So I feel like this is as good a map as any to not have one of your high-ranking players in. That said, New Hampshire fumbling the bag instantly as all 3 of them miss right after the intro section. And who else but Big Boobs to hold on to the FC out of the intro.
Amazing. Why wouldn't it be? Can't get a 700 PP on a recovery. Big Boobs does find the miss. tragically. But it's still a solid lead for Stateless. New Hampshire currently have a 60 combo lead. That's not going to be doing a whole lot for them. They're going to need quite a few more misses. They need to find some recovery. Despite this being their first pick, they've not really found much consistent combo fighting chain misses. And this is a pretty tricky section coming up. Whatskill finds the miss. Zephyr finds the miss as well, and New Hampshire are falling apart on their own first pick.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for New Hampshire here. This is a real mispick for New Hampshire in the first map of the match, down 300k with less than a quarter of the map to go and just no combo anywhere. And these are a little bit of struggle bussing for the two supporting players on New Hampshire. Zephyr not quite able to get above 200k. Fishy just above that 200k mark, and unfortunately for New Hampshire, Whatskill not too much higher than that either, up at about 330k, outscored by two of the other members on the side of Stateless, Big Boobs and Alfie. Alfie getting above 475k there, just under 480k. And Flame, this is big news. Big news for Stateless. Not only is it their first ever point in United States Cup 2025, it is also the first time they get a score higher than any U.S. state in USC 2025. You gave me this stat about their round of 32. They bottom scored all 5 maps they played except for the DT2. But the only team they beat on DT2 was Puerto Rico. So technically they did not beat a single state on any map in round of 32. This means this is the first time that Stateless has ever beaten a state on a map in USC 2025. Somebody can check if that's also true for USC in general. I don't know the history of Stateless here, but it is the first time they've won against a state in USC 2025.
Yeah, definitely not historically. Stateless had some pretty solid teams over the years. They've mostly been middle seeded, but kind of fell apart this year for who knows what reason. But you know, Dio, this is a new era for Stateless. You know, there's nowhere to go but up, and they're coming for Florida, for Virginia. They're coming for that title, and they've only got a few maps to go. I will say, for New Hampshire, 100,000 points on your own first pick is a little bit concerning with regards to comfort levels on the rest of the pool. But we'll see what they can do on the other maps, as Stateless, they see the hidden 2-band and they opt into the other hidden map, M24. This is going to be a pretty tough flow aim pick. And I mean, this is a pretty tricky map. It's a lot of flow, something we've not seen much of from either of these two teams. So it's going to be a bit of a mystery as to comfort levels on both sides.
I feel like in New Hampshire, if you banned out the hidden 2, is probably not going to be all that comfortable on this. So I feel like this is probably a good pick for Stateless. That said, I also don't know how good Stateless is at this type of stuff in the first place, right? More kind of flow aim, low BPM hidden can be really, really tough for a lot of players. So not entirely sure how solid they are themselves on something like this. We'll see if there's any similar tomfoolery going on in this map as we saw on the previous one. Looks like we still don't have Shade, by the way, for New Hampshire, so potentially just not here.
Yeah, that's my guess. I think I want to say Shade played most maps for New Hampshire last week, so but I guess not available this time around. I do think this map, more so than the previous one, is one that you'd expect to see a whole lot of misses on, especially if you're not comfortable with the hidden flow aim. It's very easy to chain miss an entire pattern or two, absolutely tank your accuracy, and so we'll see if that ends up being the case. We do already see a few misses out of Fishy. Accuracies for New Hampshire are down in the gutters, but honestly, Stateless is about even, so that's not going to be much score difference. And now Zephyr Co follows up with a second miss, and Stateless, despite their accuracy at the very least, they're holding on to their combos for now, but the map does not get any easier. In fact, second of this map is incredibly difficult. Now, it's Alfie and Whatskill, the last two players holding both combos, but there's plenty of time left in this map and plenty more misses to come.
You can say that again. More and more misses coming just from everywhere. Finally, a slider break to come for one of these FCs. It's going to be on the side of What Skill for New Hampshire. Alfie still holding the FC for Stateless. And honestly, that's all you need. Just one good score from one of these players on the side of Stateless is enough to keep this score lead on their side. Despite Can't Get a 700 and Big Boobs having a really tough time with this map overall, it is Alfie holding it down for Stateless, being over half the team score at this point and really popping off. Finally finding a couple of changes there. And there is combo on New Hampshire, but it's all on What Skill. And at this point, the supporting scores for New Hampshire actually down below both the supporting scores for Stateless on Can't Get a 700 PP and Big Boobs. So with that missed from What Skill, definitely over at this point, and 200,000 score lead in favor of Stateless, looking very solid right now for their side. And New Hampshire, after these first two picks, looking pretty rough out of the gate here. Definitely going to need to get a solid foothold on what kind of maps they can pick. And if you're missing Shade, that advantage on speed, I think just goes out the window.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you basically one player can play the speed maps, but I mean, based on what we've seen from even this map, between these two teams, it feels like if you have one player that can put up a really solid score, FC close on any map, that might be enough for you to pick it in this matchup. Obviously, oftentimes it wouldn't be the case against higher seeded teams, but here might be what you have to do, even if you have two players that can't play the map at all. It may just work out anyways because the other team may have no players who can play the map.
Yep. And that's pretty much what happens here. But honestly, the support for Can't Get a 700 and Big Boobs is decent on that map. So not even all that bad of a pick for Stateless. And New Hampshire just really not solid on the hidden at all. Not wanting anything to do with it, I think. At this point, though, if you don't have Shade for New Hampshire, I struggle to think where you would really want to go. It does seem like on these sorts of less conventional maps, Stateless just kind of has the edge over New Hampshire. So maybe you lean into some of the more straightforward stuff, into mechanics anyway, or into stuff where you can let your mechanics players shine and your non-mechanics players figure it out for themselves. Something like the LBR1, for example, could be a solid shout for this New Hampshire team.
Yeah, curious about that Hard Rock one too. It's a pretty standard map, but I don't think Stateless has really wanted to touch the Hard Rock at all. So maybe New Hampshire could make a pick out of that, but it does feel like a bit of a gamble. But honestly, most maps in this pool feels like a bit of a gamble for these two teams. I don't entirely dislike just picking speed anyways and hoping What Skill can carry. But really depends what comfort level their players have, and they're going to go for DT2. It looks like they're going to be trying to do not quite that, as they're going to go for the AR 10.3 aim consistency pick instead.
Yeah, I don't mind this. It's another one of the straightforward mechanics picks, right? Which is something that we did say is kind of an option for this team. It's not a tech map or an alt map or a reading map, which I think is good for New Hampshire, because I don't think these players win those against Stateless, given what we have seen so far, right? On the Tech Nomad 3 and the Flow Hidden 1. They didn't look so hot, so I think picking the straightforward stuff like this DT2 is really solid, and it seems like the tournament client is broken, so we're probably going to switch to a tech difficulty scene here real quick, reload the client and this map in particular, the Double Time 2, and then get back to the tournament client afterwards.
There we go. And yeah, Stateless with 2 points on the board means this is going to be a key map for New Hampshire. I don't think you can really afford to give up 2 break points in a best-of-9 match. Usually giving up 2 break points back-to-back spells the end for I think every team that has done so far in this tournament. I don't think we've seen any team come back from that sort of deficit so far. And so New Hampshire feels like this map is a must-win for them.
I'm hoping this works out pretty well for them. Classic Happy 30 map here, Alive Alone by Crest. And good luck if funds are out. This is a pretty long one, 3.5 minutes. As you said, consistency for this DT aim pick. And let's see how it goes. Same 6 players once again. No roster swaps whatsoever at this point.
It is unclear if they actually have other players available to be swapped to. We may not find out, but consistency does mean we should see some higher combos on both sides. This map should be a lot more comfortable for pretty much everybody in the lobby compared to the last 2. So it should come down to, maybe a couple players with really big combos as opposed to who can find less chain misses. Accuracy is surprisingly a struggle for both teams, each of them having one player up around that 96, 97 mark, the other 2 players farther down around 90. Zephyrico really struggling on this one, maybe not so comfortable with AR 10.3, but other Goobs trades with Zephyr, Fishy misses as well, and it's Whatskill trying to fend off Alfie and the recovery combo from Can't Get a 700. It's 10,000 points in favor of Stateless, not a team really building up enough combo to make much of a dent either way, but Whatskill now presented with that opportunity, just needs to hold for a little bit longer, but a really tricky PI coming up. The longer Whatskill can hold, the longer New Hampshire pulls away. Unfortunately, Whatskill does find the miss, and now it's pretty much a full reset across the board.
Yeah, Whatskill not able to hold on long enough to generate a really big score lead here for New Hampshire. It's just 10k at the moment, and combo is pretty even across the board. Accuracy a little bit better for Stateless. Mostly Zephyr struggling with the accuracy right now for New Hampshire, and does find another miss there as well. So score lead's starting to go back the way of Stateless. Big Boobs will trade out the miss, but it's not enough to keep the score lead on New Hampshire's side. There goes Fishy. And now it's Whatskill versus both Alfie and Can't Get a 700. And there goes Whatskill as well. And halfway into the map, it's looking a little dire here. Another miss to come through for Alfie. But it feels like if there's not big combo on Whatskill, there's not potential for a win here for New Hampshire. It seems like that player needs to hold on to some big combo somewhere in this map in order to secure a point for New Hampshire, but Can't Get a 700 PP. Holding on to better combo right now and keeping any chance of a New Hampshire comeback on this map at bay. Big Boobs as well, holding on to a little bit of combo for Stateless. And unfortunately, New Hampshire, it feels like, just cannot find a foothold in this match. No win on the Tech Nomad, no win on the Flow Hidden, no win on the DT Aim map either, as we come up on the last about 8th of the map or so. And Big Boobs holding on a combo, 150,000 score lead for Stateless. It's already over. No combo to speak of on the side of New Hampshire. And this is going to be a 3-0 start for Stateless.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid score from Whatskill, but the support is just not there. 100,000 points ahead of the competition. Feels like Whatskill needs to be gapping pretty much the entirety of Stateless to about 100,000 points in order for New Hampshire to find themselves a point, and that second break point, New Hampshire, I think, are going to be in a lot of trouble now if Stateless can make their next pick count. And I mean, we've only had 3 picks so far. There's still a lot of maps open in the pool, so it shouldn't be too difficult for Stateless to find a pick that they can be relatively comfortable on. And I think it's going back to some of those more awkward picks, the ult, the reading, maybe less so the precision, but it is there.
Yeah, I think I think you probably don't want to pick into the precision here for Stateless. I feel like if you have the option of picking basically anything else, you're probably going to do that first. Something like the Fremod 3, something like the Hard Rock 1 even, or Nomad 5. Probably solid in comparison. I think the one thing you don't want to do is pick into DT speed, so maybe no Nomad 4, no DT 1-3.
Yeah, Nomad 5. Very fun map to watch, I think. I think that is one way that some of the lower seeded teams, if they're facing off against higher seeded teams, can try to get an edge. It's just grind all the gimmicky, super awkward maps that not everybody wants to put a bunch of time into practicing to figure out. Maybe if we get free mod 1, we'll see an easy.
Yeah, I doubt it personally, but
Yeah,
never know.
Between these two teams, but you can keep
Probably not
open.
between these two teams, but at some point, someone else will take easy on it. I don't think either of these teams are taking it easy on this, but at some point maybe this weekend for sure.
One day, sometime,
One day.
somewhere, somebody will play easy, and when they do, I will be there.
When they do. All right. It is going to be the DT3 actually picked for Stateless. I'm a little surprised, just because I think New Hampshire probably might have picked that themselves next anyway. So not entirely sure why pick this for Stateless, but maybe they know something I don't. Maybe they're just really solid on this kind of thing right now. Maybe they're feeling themselves.
Yeah, I mean, could be that they also recognize that Shade is missing, which would mean that New Hampshire have now 2 players that cannot play speed in any way, and this is not a light speed map. This is 240 BPM streams. It's also a 2010 map, so they're not particularly comfortable streams. They're incredibly awkward feeling to play, and that doesn't necessarily spell good things for New Hampshire. Maybe outside of Whatskill, who I think should have a pretty good time on this map. But Stateless, while they may not be quite as adept as Whatskill at the speed, I think they most likely have 3 players who can put up decent scores on the map, and I guess they feel like that's going to be enough. Or maybe they'll just 3-way. You never know.
Maybe they'll just 3-way. You never know. You never know.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, anything could happen. We are getting a couple of people moving around here. Big Boobs and Fishy swapping spots once again. We get the same 6 players. No roster swaps whatsoever so far for either of these teams on map number 4. Let's see how this one goes. As you said, very old. A little tricky. Some weird stream shapes in this map. It is a speed map, but it's old enough that it plays as kind of gimmick flow speed. Is that a thing? Is that a skill?
Probably the best way to describe this map.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Okay.
It's also got old map timing, so everyone's act is gonna suck.
Yeah, we've seen very low accuracies on this map overall, even from some of the higher tier teams. As you can see, accuracies mostly in the 80s all around. We've got a 57 for Zephyr Co. That's slightly concerning, but actually Whatskill, not pretty much as expected. Solid accuracy, best in, actually no longer best in lobby, all of your covers, but it's misses all over the place. Whatskill and Fishy holding on to some kind of combo. Alfie not too far behind, but with big moves and can't get a 700, finding chain misses. New Hampshire has pulled into the lead despite their accuracy woes. That's a big miss for Whatskill though. Now Fishy trying to fend off Alfie, but there's not really supporting combo anywhere else, so it's the accuracy making a difference right now.
Yeah, and Fishy's got 75 accuracy, and there goes Fishy. Alfie will miss right afterwards, though. So this is going to stay close. The biggest combo is on Whatskill, but it's so low combo for everyone in this lobby right now. And realistically, I feel like Whatskill just has to carry this, man. You have to pull up with some big combo in the second half of this map if you want to get a point for New Hampshire on the board. Let's see it. Zephyr finding another miss there is not going to help the case. Another couple of misses for Alfie as well, but can't get a 700, and Big Boobs are both still holding on to combo. And it's all really down to if one of these other combos misses on the side of Stateless. Can't get a 700, and Big Boobs, one of them needs to find a miss here. And there goes Can't get a 700. Isn't enough for Whatskill to take this back. The lead is 60k. It's not coming down all that fast, and there goes Whatskill, finds a miss of his own. And that, I think, is just going to seal it up. Another point on the board for Stateless, 4-0 to start this match off.
Yeah, and it's the same story. Whatskill top scoring by 100,000 points, but feels like needs to be 200,000 points to really make the difference, and that's going to put Stateless on match point. As you said, New Hampshire, they do have one more pick, but that's not helped them out the previous 2 times they had a pick, so we'll see if they can manage to get a point on their next map. It is going to be their last chance in this tournament to get a point.
Make it count. Better make it count. Let's throw a no mod 1 out there, guys. 3 mod 1. Okay. I like that too. Another aim map. Throw out an aim map right now.
I think aim's the way to go. Now, I honestly think on this map, you throw like Zephyr on Hard Rock, Fishy on Hidden, and let what skill take the no mod and put up a big score. Go for the solo carry. You know, if the skill finds a couple misses because of Hidden or Hard Rock, then you're kind of just out of it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think just put the mods on your members who are having a rough time and let what skill take whatever is most comfortable, where he can get as high of a score as possible most of the time.
Yeah, some players are not so comfortable with the R8 as well, so sometimes we do see players opting to take Hard Rock on these maps just out of comfort, but it does significantly up the precision factor, so there is that to consider as well. We should find our mods shortly. If she wants to play this one with DT, it might be a little bit ambitious.
I think Ref just forgot to change the mods is what happened there. But you know, ambition is one thing.
You know, it will be an entertaining map, that's for sure.
It'd
be like, you know,
be entertaining.
3,000 to 2,000.
All right, here we are. It is indeed going to be no mod for what skill, so I like it here for New Hampshire. Let your player who has consistently performed the best so far be as comfortable as possible.
Seems like they're doing all the right things in the pick ban phase in terms of mod decisions to put themselves in a place where they can get a point. Now, it all comes down to the execution. Zephyr Co finds the early miss, not going to be super impactful. Big Boobs finds a big set of chain misses, not having a good time on this hit and struggling with the accuracy, as is Zephyr. This is a very tricky map on the hidden. Unfortunately, what skill has missed on the no mod, and the no mod is one you really can't afford to miss with, but it has been a full reset on both sides, so what skill not punished as much for that mistake as it could have been, and this is a long map, so plenty of time for recovery.
Well, let's see if they can find the comeback. Zephyr finding on the drop on the hidden is not going to help it, but Big Boobs will drop the act down into the 80s and find a miss in return. So it's keeping things close right now between these two teams. Both Zephyr and Big Boobs struggling on the hidden, but there goes What Skill on the no mod and can't get a 700 PP for Stateless. Is still holding on to big combo on the no mod. Fishy also breaking the Hard Rock for New Hampshire, whereas Alfie holding on the Hard Rock for Stateless. And iFlame, it's been a reversal of roles here for Stateless and New Hampshire. In the round of 32, again, if you're just joining in, iFlame, present us some statistics real quick from the round of 32.
Yep, round of 32, Team Stateless, 5 maps played, 4 maps, bottom score in the entire tournament. 1 map, second worst score in the entire tournament. So no matter what team they played against, Stateless would not have won against any of them except for Hawaii on a single map. And now, here they are.
No, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, you're right.
They beat 0 states last week.
Yes.
Which is something.
And now, they've beaten a whole stage, and they've done it in a pretty convincing fashion. I mean, to be honest, that is what losing one of your 2 core players on a 4-player roster will do to you, unfortunately. New Hampshire just kind of has to play with the cards they're dealt, and in this case, that does mean their elimination.
Yeah, rather unfortunate for New Hampshire, not able to put any solid team scores together while missing Shade. But like you said, if you're a 4-player roster and you're missing one person, you're just 3 people perma-lobby. It's a bit tough.
It certainly is. Unfortunately, how it goes sometimes. I'm sure New Hampshire will be back stronger next year, ready to compete once again. But congratulations to Stateless. I think this is going to be a big win for them, especially after last week. This will probably be a big confidence booster, as non-clear yet who they play yet is going to be the winner of Wisconsin and Connecticut. But we do have another match coming up. In about 1 hour's time, we've got Texas up against Illinois. That should be a decent one. Texas, obviously a very good team. And Illinois upset Washington, who have been such a strong team throughout USC history. So that one could be exciting.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that match. 2:30 UTC. Won't be too long before that one comes up. And then we also have a match at 3 UTC starting a half hour later. Carolina versus Colorado. Seed 6 versus 11, also in the winner's bracket. So Colorado put up potentially the most dominant performance we've ever seen in round of 32. Pulled off the first ever clean sweep against Florida last weekend. And Carolina, of course, as the 6th seed, still looking very good. So I think both those matches should be pretty solid. So come on back in about 45 minutes. We'll start off with Texas versus Illinois and end off with Carolina versus Colorado. I'm Dio. He's iFlame. Thanks to James for the stream. Congratulations to Stateless. Thank you to New Hampshire for playing. We'll see you back here in 45 minutes.